Hello, YouTube. You've probably heard the phrase attachment leads to suffering, or the cause of suffering is attachment. Today I want to go a little deeper with that and kind of explain a little bit more exactly what that means, because I've talked about attachment in the past, and a lot of times when you mention attachment, people just don't quite understand exactly what you're talking about. So today we're going to talk about letting go of attachment and finding peace. And I have a nice little article here I want to share with you. But this has been, listen, this has been a rough couple of years in some ways for me. I know people have had it rougher, but mentally it's been a little bit challenging. And I got back to my meditation practice I guess it's been about the beginning of July, and I've been doing work. I've been working through things, and attachment is one of the things that I have worked on in addition to my meditation, because I'm not working on actually thinking and doing stuff when I'm doing that. So I've really been trying more to practice this, embrace this, and I've been reading more about it lately, and I just thought that this was the piece that kind of summed it up that I wanted to share the most. Sorry about that. I guess I should have it ready and on my iPad before I start doing a video. Anyhow, this little reading is coming from a website called thevedicmethod.com. I'll drop a link down below, and the title of the article is Attachment, the Root of All Suffering. Attachment is the root of all suffering. You likely have heard this statement before. When I was younger, this phrase confused me. I would think about what I was attached to: my family, my home, my collection of shoes I never wore. Did letting go of attachments mean I had to let go of these things and become an emotionless robot? Should I give away all my possessions, say goodbye to my loved ones, and walk the earth in a potato sack and a walking stick? I'd think, I like the things and the people I'm attached to. What's wrong with that? This concept needs refinement for most of us who grew up in a capitalist society in which the acquisitions of things and achievements is glorified. What is attachment? Before I dive too deeply into this concept, I must first define what I mean by attachment. The one constant in the universe is change. Becoming attached means clinging to something often past its relevance with the mistaken idea that this thing defines us and will bring happiness. In doing so, we are seeking happiness outside the self, where it is not, and are also resisting progressive change. Whenever this happens, we are going against the forces of nature, and suffering always follows. We can form attachments to almost anything: objects, people, occupations, self-concepts, patterns of behavior, even negative patterns of behavior we know we don't like about ourselves, specific timings, and specific outcomes. Can I still enjoy life? Letting go of attachment does not mean you have to become a grumpy monk. Not only is enjoyment part of the enlightened life, it is a defining characteristic. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi once said, "We have an infinite number of reasons to be happy, and a serious responsibility not to be serious." I like that. Things, people, events come into our lives and are relevant for a time, and during that time are to be enjoyed. Do these things define who we are? No. Are we dependent on them for happiness? No. It is when we think we need something to be happy and then cling to that thing long after its shelf life that we develop unhealthy attachments. But we can find infinite joy in ourselves and in the now. What about renouncing all material things? As Madonna points out, that's a cheesy older reference. We live in a material world, and therefore material elements will often have relevance to our lives. It is not necessarily your dharma, your purpose in life, to renounce all material possessions, so long as these possessions do not possess you. The key is to learn to let go of what is no longer relevant. When we lead with creation in our lives, nature comes in and supports us. Anything that is not relevant to that creation, to our evolution, is baggage. Whether that baggage is years of old clothing stored in a closet or years of old stresses stored in our tissues. It is holding you back. It is also beckoning destruction, as all things that stagnate do. Isn't the outside world just illusion or Maya? That's a Vedic word. The Vedas describe the universe and human experience as an interplay of Purushka, the eternal, unchanging reality, and Prakti, the temporary changing material reality. There are some who feel that all this manifest creation of Prakriti is illusion or Maya and therefore not worth anything. That is only the inner experience of Purusha that it is only the inner experience of Purushu that is true and therefore of value. To that I say, what is the universe doing? What is it interested in? All it's doing at all times is manifesting in order for the beauty of its elaboration to be witnessed, recognized, and appreciated. True, to go through life only realizing the surface nature of things leads to suffering. But to possess both empirical knowledge and spiritual knowledge and see the world outside as well as the hidden principles behind it at work is to behold and enjoy the full spectrum of creation. Attachment versus love. When we become attached to someone, we make the mistake that that person and our relationship to them defines who we are. That is the source of our happiness and therefore cannot change. When we are attached, we don't think in terms of what is best for the person we are with, but in terms of how that person fills our needs. With attachment, the relationship must be preserved, even if it is no longer serving you or your partner, as to let it go would cut you off from your happiness and shake your self-concept. Love is seeing yourself in another, seeing the divine or the oneness of all things in another. It is a unity experience in which you share in each other's happiness, but are not looking to the other for fulfillment. And if the relationship is no longer relevant, you part amicably and genuinely wish the other well. How to let go of attachment, that's the tough part. Excuse me. Attachments exist in our mind, and therefore it is in our mind we must address them. First, it is important to recognize where we have attachments. Sit in your most basic form of awareness and scan your life for areas that feel like they are not flowing. Then start removing what is obviously irrelevant, be they things, patterns of behavior, commitments. As you start the process, space will open up and you'll uncover more and more of what needs to go and get braver about letting go of stickier attachments. And don't throw out the spiritual baby with the bathwater. You may have an attachment to a person, but that doesn't mean that's not love and value underneath. Just the style of relating needs to evolve into something new. By meditating, we gain access to our fine level of feeling, which alerts us to what is relevant and what is not. It also gives us the experience of finding happiness within, so we can more easily let go of the mistaken idea that our happiness is found outside the self, which leads to attachment. So it turns out we don't need to let go of our families or our homes and become emotionless robots after all. The people in our lives, the places we live, and things we own that are relevant to us can only help our evolution and therefore our experience of a joyful and purposeful life. The closet of never worn shoes, however, may have to go. That's a good one. I'm working on this, and like I say, that's why I don't have a whole lot of time to worry about resolutions and deal with food type stuff, is because I'm working on letting go of a lot. I'm working on letting go of a lot of attachments mentally within myself for this new coming year. It's something I don't like New Year's resolutions, so I won't make this a resolution because it's something that I have been actively working on for some time. But you can only work at it and you can only intellectualize it so much. At some point, and I feel like this time is coming for me soon, it's almost like you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you just have to trust, and you have to fall back and just trust. And I don't mean that literally, don't anybody go falling off a cliff or anything, but letting go of those attachments, that is something that I just think is very necessary to my growth. And it's not all I'll just finish with this too. I say, I do more videos on food and health and stuff, but it's not always about the body. It's not all about the physical. That's not all that comprises our life. So anyhow, like I said, I stumbled across that one when I was doing some searches yesterday and just wanted to share it with you. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Hope you have a beautiful weekend. We're getting closer to the holidays. Hope you get to spend some time with your family and friends. And, some people are struggling out there. Keep that in mind, especially during the holiday season. Lots of people struggle during this time, so act accordingly. Anyhow, Good seeing you guys again today, and love you all.